Before we dive into the creation of partitions, we need to briefly discuss some of the different types of disk that we can create partitions on. All system devices are located in the /dev directory, and this is where we will find the hard disk that the kernel has detected on our system. There are quite a few items in here, but the ones that we are concerned with at the moment are the SD devices. As you can see, we have SDA, SDA1, SDA2, and SDB devices. The SDA device is our first SCSI hard disk. This can be read as S for SCSI or SATA, D for disk, and the letter A, which represents the first disk detected. The SDA items that we see here with a 1 and 2 represent the partitions that are configured on this disk. SDA1 is the first partition, and SDA2 is the second partition. The SDB device is our second hard disk, denoted by the letter B. We don't have any partition numbers on here, as we have not created any partitions on it yet. Your system may have HD instead of SD, where H stands for a regular IDE drive. Another option would be VD, where V stands for virtual disk in a LibVirt virtualization environment. Regardless of what type of disk you have, the first letter will tell you what type of disk it is, followed by D for disk, then a letter indicating which disk it is, such as an A for the first disk, B for the second disk, and so on. And if there is a partition on the disk, that will be represented by a number indicating which partition it is. Now let's create a new partition on our blank /dev/SDB disk. We do this with the fdisk command. Then we tell fdisk which disk we will be working on. Fdisk is an interactive partition creation tool, meaning that it is menu-driven. As displayed here, we can press the M key to bring up our menu. But for now, we are going to press the P key. The P key displays the partition table of a disk, and here we see that we do not have one. Now to create a new partition, we press the N key. Next, we get prompted asking us if we are going to be creating a primary or an extended partition. We don't have any partitions on this disk, so we are going to create a primary partition. Press the P key for primary partition. Then we are asked for a partition number. This is the first partition that we are building, so we will use 1. Next, we are asked for the starting cylinder of our partition. We will just accept the default of 1 by pressing Enter. Next, we are asked for the location of the last cylinder. We can press Enter for it to take the whole disk, or we can enter a size in kilobytes, megabytes, or gigabytes, preceded by a plus sign. This is a 1 gigabyte disk, and we only wish to use half of it, so we will enter in plus 500 M for 500 megabytes, then press Enter. Now we can press P again to see our new partition table. Here we have our new /dev/SDB1 partition, our start and end cylinders, our blocks indicating our 500 megabyte partition size, and the last 2 fields indicate our partition type. To see what types of different file systems we can use on our system, press the L key. Our default file system ID was 83 for the Linux file system, which for RHEL 6 generally refers to the ext4 file system. That will work for now, as we will just leave it at that. We will discuss file systems in more detail in the following video. We haven't actually finished creating our partition yet. In order to do that, we need to write our changes to the disk. To do this, we press the W key, then press Enter. Fdisk has now written our new partition table for our /dev/SDB disk. We can verify this by listing our partitions in our /dev/SDB disk by running the fdisk command with the -L option on the disk itself. And here we see our new partition table. If for some reason you do not see your new partition table, you could reboot the system, or better yet, run the part probe command. This command tells the kernel to reread the partition tables of all of the disks on the system. Take a look at the man page for the fdisk command to see some of the other things you can do with it. You can add more partitions to a disk, delete partitions, and change file system types. Another method of creating partitions on hard disk is by using parted instead of fdisk. Both tools do the same thing, they just have different ways of doing it. You can look up the parted command's man pages if you wish to give that utility a try. You can use either method on the RHCSA exam, so just use whichever tool you are most comfortable with.